And good morning today, Contagious Optimism and how you can be inspired by one man's story.
Plus a new way to lose the fat.
And a doctor who survived cancer and wants to be a part of knocking it out.
It's all now on the Morning Plunge.
It's a great day, so make it everything you want it to be. It's yours and it's mine. It's a great day to shine. It's not about the money, money, money. We don't need your money, money.
Speaking of the money,
Today is the day the new Benjamins come out, the new
Benny.
$100 bills.
okay, what does it look like?
I don't have one yet, but we do have a picture of it because, I usually carry them around.
Right.
But today I just didn't happen to have one. No, this is,
Okay.
if we can hold on this a little bit, I just want to kind of mention a few of the new features because it's pretty cool when you take a look. First of all, the bill is textured around Benjamin Franklin's shoulder.
Okay.
So that's a new feature.
Cool, like suede?
See that blue ribbon next to his face?
Yes.
That's a security ribbon, okay? They say that's going to make it harder to fake because it's actually woven in and through the bill. It's not printed on it.
Okay.
Isn't that cool? And then
Yeah.
you can see that copper bell that's next to the blue ribbon, kind of down on the bottom.
Yep, see it?
That is, that's another 3D or another thing that is a security feature. It actually shifts colors between copper to green when you tilt the
Oh.
bill.
So it
kinda
is
cool.
kind of like 3D or something, right?
Yeah, it's really
See,
neat.
here's the problem. A lot of places right now don't even take $50 bills. I hate having
Right.
50s. I don't know how long it's been since I've had a $100 bill.
Well, there's so many things that you can, to counterfeit, and that's why they made all these different features. Like there's a thread that reads USA and 100 in an alternating pattern that glows pink when you kind of hold it up to the light. So
Okay.
that's another thing. And then the back, I know we have a picture of the back. This is kind of neat too. They've got a large gold 100. You can just see the number 100.
Okay.
And New Money and the government has said the reason they did that is to help those with visual impairments distinguish the denominations. So it's a very large gold 100 printed on the back. And the only other two interesting things is that there's two locations that they are printed, one in Washington, D.C. and the other in Fort Worth. And those printed in Fort Worth will have an FW up in the corner.
Oh, so
that's
you'll
how you
know
can tell where it's
the
printed.
difference. That's cool.
Yeah.
Five biggest mistakes that you make with your slow cooker, because this is the time of year a lot of people think about making stews or chili or roast in their slow cooker. I love this. One of them is neglecting to brown your meats. It's kind
Before?
of like that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like a paint. It's an extra step, kind of makes more of a mess. But really, if you brown it, it's so much better because the juices stay in.
Okay.
Removing the lid during use is another really big no-no. And
That's
I'm
a
always
no-no,
checking
huh?
the stuff in my crock pot. But
Okay.
it says when slow cookers lose the heat, it takes them such a long time to gain it back that you really shouldn't remove the lid unless you absolutely have to. Always using the same temperature is also something you should not do. It depends on what you're cooking and how long you're going to be cooking
But
it.
you can use the same temperature on that item.
Right,
You're saying.
right.
Okay,
for
just
the
different items,
duration, but different
okay.
things, and depending on how, because it's like if you put it in the morning, you work a full day.
Yeah.
And then not submerging the meat. I'm curious
What?
about this one. Yeah, because they say the cooking time for meat and poultry that's under liquid will be shorter than for pieces of meat that aren't. So make sure that everything is submerged so that the entire dish cooks evenly. I don't submerge my meat. I don't put that much liquid in it. So I'm curious about that.
Oh, I think I have for soups.
Okay, for soups.
Yeah, they're all the meat's all in there.
Yeah.
With the bone.
Yeah, that's interesting. That one I'm not sure about. And the last one is just using the wrong setting.
Okay.
Using the wrong setting is a problem because chances are you're operating usually at a high temperature, and sometimes you should have it on warm.
There's nothing better than walking into a house that has a slow cooker cooking. I mean, isn't
Yeah.
that the greatest smell when you walk in? It's been just the whole home is filled with the aroma. Love it.
It's
So,
the smell, but it's like
that time.
instant dinner. I love that. It's like
Fantastic.
it's like a present when
It
you get
is.
home. If dinner's already ready, and you can just serve it up. With a little rice or some
Loving it.
noodles, something like that. So there you go. The 5 biggest mistakes we make with our slow cooker. So happy slow cooking.
Yeah.
Before we move on, let's take a look at our Arts Cameras Plus picture of the day.
Viewer Darlene Fry sent us this gorgeous photo of her daughter Kayla. This is her senior picture, and Darlene says they decided to save money and do it herself. They found a place up
Wow.
north for a beautiful backdrop, and we think you did a beautiful
She's
job.
gorgeous.
Isn't that great? Thanks for sharing that, and good luck to Kayla with her senior year. How
Yeah,
exciting.
they got a perfect weather day too, it looks like. That is awesome.
pretty lighting.
Love that.
All right, well, there are times when we all could use some words of encouragement and a little pick-me-up to go out and find our silver linings.
Yeah, the book Contagious Optimism creates this simple message of hope, and David Mezzapelle Mezzapelle. Did I say that right?
Yep, absolutely.
Mezzapelle. Okay. Wrote that book and was inspired after experiencing many life-changing moments of his own. Welcome to the show.
Thank
Great
you.
to have
Thank
you
Thank
here.
you. It's
Yes.
great to be here.
Yeah.
I'm very honored.
I do believe that optimism is contagious, so I like
Absolutely.
that title. But let's talk first about the changes in your life that kind of inspired this book.
Sure, absolutely. Growing up the youngest, I spent a lot of time with older relatives and older family friends, and I always loved their stories. I never let that go. And you know, when I look back, I noticed that all their stories have the same things in common: adversity, perseverance, and wisdom that was gained and shared. And as I got older and got into my career, my alma mater had said to me, you know, you should write a book on optimism in business, based on what I was doing at the time. And I said, you know what? I'm ready to do it in 2010, but I said, let's not just make it about me. Let's make it about lots of people, and not just business, but many of life's themes. And that's really how it all came together. And then we made it a class project for students around the globe, so they can get out and help us get our stories, and they get experience in publishing.
That is really neat. So it's kind of helping others at the
Absolutely.
same time. You talk about positive forward thinking.
Yes.
How do you define that?
Sure. Positive forward thinking is the ability to find the silver lining in every cloud, apply it to yesterday or today, with the confidence that tomorrow will be better.
You know, a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, is your unicorn parked right outside the studio here?"
Right,
When you
fairy
talk like
dust
that.
all
Exactly.
around.
Yeah, because people feel
Absolutely.
like, okay, that guy can sit there and say that,
Right.
but I'm experiencing this, or somebody did this to me, or I
Absolutely.
lost my job, or I have a chronic illness.
Yep. Well, it's very true. And you know what? When people are going through hard times, they tend to think they're alone. There's like a helplessness to that. But when you hear stories of how others have persevered, it gives you hope. And hope is that foundation of optimism. So, you know, when you talk about wisdom also, you know, wisdom doesn't just come from success. It comes from our failures. So when you gain all that wisdom over time and you share it with others, you're helping them. So when they're in that stage of their life that they need that boost, they need a little education, whether it's financial, health, sports, relationships, knowing others have been there is comforting. It spreads a message of hope. And that's what our book is all about.
I think it's great. I think some people, like Molly said, will think, oh, it sounds a little fluffy. So
Right.
let's kind of break it down to the fact. I'm a huge believer in positive thought
Yep.
creates positive actions and positive reactions and so forth. It just keeps rolling that way. So is there a science behind optimism? Is there something that we need to know that this really does work? It's not just fluffy?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm glad you mentioned that. So in the book, these are real stories from real people. So just knowing that is tremendous. Just knowing that I can potentially emulate one of their outcomes, again, gives us hope. But in terms of science, there's really two ways to look at it. There's the spiritual side. We talk about the power of positive thinking from Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. We talk about The Secret, the law of attraction. All that is very spiritual and great. And then we have the science, the applied science, where we talk about neurochemicals, serotonin, oxytocin, all these different neurochemicals. We talk about optimism bias, which is where we, deep down, we don't think we're going to be hit by a bus today. We think we're going to walk out our door and probably not get hit. That's a bias that we all have. And then there's the whole learned optimism, where deep down we know we can practice at something, whether it's joy, happiness, sports, or relationship, and get better at it. And that's the scientific side.
Give me an example from a book, maybe your favorite example, or someone who overcame a lot of adversity
Sure.
to get to a point of being able to find a silver lining.
Absolutely. There's a great story called A Mother's Gift. It's written by Joel Heller. He's one of our co-authors. And basically it goes like this. Joel came home from college sophomore year to visit the family. And unfortunately, upon his arrival, he got some bad news that his mother had mouth and throat cancer and would be losing part of her tongue and her ability to speak normal in order to fight the disease. But the mother made him a promise. She said, Joel, by your graduation, I'll be able to say congratulations in a loud, clear, normal voice. And I am determined to beat that disease. And what she did, she realized that the best way to regain her speech would be to relearn the pronunciation of words just like a child in their early stages. And she did. She went out and bought books and tapes, children books and tapes, and practiced until she met her goal. And I'm happy to report that by his graduation, she was able to say congratulations, and she did beat the disease. And she even resumed her career as a social worker.
That's wonderful.
And that's one of 110 examples like that.
Are there going to be more books like this then, with more stories continued?
Absolutely. We plan to do one book a year
Yeah.
across a variety of life's themes from people all over the world. And we're also starting a series called Contagious Optimism Live, which will be sort of like TED, an onstage presence where people come on and share their stories with the world.
That's
I'm
awesome.
very excited about it.
The Today Show just featured a young man who was a basketball star who had depression and was even contemplating suicide.
Yep.
And Ted picked it up. His story went viral. And what I loved about what he said is, my story isn't unique or special. The reason it's resonated with so many people, just like the stories in your book probably, are that it's so common.
It's common, it's ordinary people. You know, when you read books about celebrities and CEOs and sports stars, they're great. They're very inspirational. But, you know, let's be real. Millions of people, they like to read about people like them, their peer group, when they know they can emulate them.
I think it's great. I know people can come meet you at Boswell Books going on tomorrow at 7 o'clock, the 8th. That's tonight. Tonight's the 8th. Sorry, at 7 o'clock at Boswell Books in Milwaukee. And then also in Chicago, October 11th at 7 o'clock, the Women and Children's First there in Chicago is another time people can see you at 7 o'clock. So wonderful. People can get a copy of your book, Contagious Optimism, or contagiousoptimism.com. Thanks for being here.
And I want to say one thing, if I can.
Sure.
People from Wisconsin are so nice.
It's true.
I can't believe it.
True.
I cannot believe, even
It's
where I live in
You
Florida.
spread that optimism.
I promise.
I love this. I think it's
Fantastic.
wonderful.
Even in
Thanks,
traffic,
David.
people are nice. I can't get over it.
Thanks for saying that. I think that's super
Absolutely.
cool. It's
Thanks,
great to
David.
have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next on The Morning Blend, how to make the ups and downs of the stock market roller coaster work for you. We'll be right back.